What's up, you guys? Welcome back to 7th Gear the channel. Dude, you need to chill. I just got this dog. His name's Racer. He's been sick for the last week and a half with explosive diarrhea. And he's finally feeling good for the first time. So he has like all this pent up energy. We do need to have a serious talk though. So, in the last GTD video, I talked about how people were saying that they think the market's gonna tank. Specifically like the classic car and specialty vehicle market. And I thought the same thing too. However, this was prior to the election. There were a lot of things up in the air. There was a lot of predictions going around. So in the last GTD video, I was talking about how we should consider downsizing and the collection. With that being said, I ended up buying this. Yeah, not really downsizing the collection, but adding to, which is maybe not the smartest thing. I've always wanted a Porsche. I say Porsche. A lot of people say Porsche. It just does not feel normal to me to say Porsche. I've looked up the video where Porsche released like how to pronounce Porsche, and it's like Porsche. 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 I always told people when they would correct me, especially in my videos, that I would always say Porsche until I finally became an owner of one, and then I would say Porsche. I think the way we say it here in America is like Porsche. Porsche. So what does this have to do with the GTD? Well, I think the market's gonna stay strong. I think the GTD is gonna hold the resale value probably for, I don't know, 4 to 6 years really high after the first 2-year window ends for resale that we signed. Similar to the Ford GTs, the 3rd gen, a lot of them are still hovering around that, 400 to 600 plus MSRP from when they came out, which is lower than what they were, especially through COVID, but they're definitely down a little bit. However, if you can double your money on those, like most people are, then why not? I just had the GTD configuration call. Originally, our call window was from March to I think June. So 20 something days after the window opened for us, we got the call. Again, I have to be careful with how much I say because I did sign confidentiality agreements, and I'm not sure what exactly that covers. I can't specifically talk about pricing at all. I did take some cell phone video of the call that I had with them. You're allowed to build 3 different configurations and save them in your profile on the configurator, and then that sends that to the GTD contact on the concierge team, and that they can kind of price out what options you have and let you know a general idea of what it's going to cost. However, whenever we logged on, it didn't have anything built. The configurator is really cool, and what it does is basically gives them a price, but they don't send you like a PDF, they don't send you a breakdown of what all these things cost. It's really just, hey, this is what the base package costs, this is what the carbon series costs, performance pack is this price when you add it with this option, the carbon fiber mirror caps are this cost, and the tow hook's like $50 and the cover's $1,000, the car cover. That's the only 2 prices I'm gonna give you. I think that's the only thing they'll be okay with me sharing, but it's kind of a guess on like what some of these colors really look like. Chroma Flame doesn't look, there's not as much depth in the rendering as it looks like in the photos. This is the configurator, which is sick. Has the exhaust sounds. As you rotate around, it gets louder. You can see some of the fumes. You can zoom in. It's pretty sick. Here's the base package with the performance pack. You can see the difference here. You see a change here with the dive plane / canards and the splitter. It looks like there's a change in the hood vents. I'm not sure exactly what it is. From some angles it looks different, from other angles it doesn't. I guess you see this little edge here, maybe for air to go over the hood. There's something similar that the ZR1's doing to manipulate the air going over the hood. But those are the only changes on the front end that I see. with the performance package. And you really notice how massive this splitter is when you select the performance pack. It really kicks that out. As far as in the rear, I don't see anything else changing. They have a blackout roof, which is no charge, so I guess they're all coming standard with this. But then you have this upcharge stripe, which is fatter than the carbon stripe, which I think looks really good, especially on the width of the car from this angle. And then you can also do painted blackout with accent stripe, without accent stripe. So this now adds the deck lid and the front end. So this simulates like the carbon series without the stripe. So like you'll have like the chevron weave in here as an option that kind of simulates that spec. And then you also have it with the body stripe, which is still fatter than what you have with the carbon series. I honestly think that looks really good. Like that's not a bad looking car at all. If you stick with the standard option roof, no upcharge, you can also do a exposed carbon fiber roof. So let's go to the carbon pack, which we are selecting carbon series with performance package. And then let's go to the exterior view. So this is what it sets me up in default. Same layout as that other paint option. However, the carbon comes all the way down to the front edge of the bumper. And I believe that painted blackout option on the base stops shorter. And then obviously the stripe's thinner. Then this carries back over to the deck lid, which is really cool. I love this polymetic gray, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I love this color. I wish we could have photos of all these colors and not just a rendering, because however, like I do think the grabber blue is similar, but if you change it to chroma flare, that does not look the same, which has me worried of like how far off are these colors actually gonna be. Lightning blue obviously looks really good. That looks pretty spot on from what I've seen on the internet. Well, let's just go through some of these. So you can do exposed carbon body with carbon stripe. It adds the stripe and the carbon fiber to match the body. You can do it in an accent stripe, which is an upgraded fee. You can select from, it automatically detects like what you can select or what you can't depending on what body color you have. That's a really nice spec. So we have exposed carbon with the chevron. This is another upcharge. I don't know exactly what this is, but I know it's not gonna be cheap just because they have to have a special process to line these up. So let's go to the extended color palette, which is a upcharge, obviously, as we know. You can be super limitless in how you mix these colors. RGB format, so you can mix and match to your heart's content. And everything, that's sick. You can have so much fun with what you choose. So let's just say we wanted like a lime green. So I'm gonna mix and match this. I'm gonna add some brightness. That's really, really bright. Let's just say it's that. Random color that I decided to mix and match here. They have a hex color. And it says on here, disclaimer, not all colors may be available. Reference the EP guidelines or contact your concierge for more information. They send you over a PDF of how they break down what's feasible and what's not according to Multimatic. Basically, you have to get with them and they provide you an answer as to if it's feasible or not. So they break it down into 5 levels for the paint. That range is, I'm not gonna talk about price. You can send like a make and model. So let's say it's a 2015 Corvette. It sounds wrong, I know. It's like, why would you do that? But you can list the year, make and model, and the color of the name. Multimatic will then figure out what level category that falls under, based on how complex the paint is, I guess. And I also believe, and this is unconfirmed, but what I've heard from the Ford GT owners that did something similar a few years ago, some of that paint is protected by the developer / car manufacturer. I don't know if it has to do with like some type of patenting. So then I think they have to basically get the rights to be able to use that paint code on another vehicle. And so I think that also has an effect on what it is that you're painting. And so that breaks down if you're level 1 to level 5. You can literally pick any color you want to, and they'll let you know if it's feasible. And you get two complementary color checkers, right? And after that, then they have to get approval to see if you can get more color checks. They can even send you a spray out. I don't know what it is, if it's just like a flat linear sheet or if it's similar to the 4 GT where it's this little model so you can see the body lines and whatnot. I'm not really sure. I haven't gotten to that step yet. We're waiting to hear back from Multimatic to see what's feasible and what level we fall under for paint selection. Because we are doing an extended palette color, and that's the only thing I'm gonna tell you, is that it is an extended palette color, and I'm really excited about it. So yeah, this has like some Austin yellow vibes from BMW, maybe has a little bit too much green in it, but having body colored stripe is, I believe, no charge. Having an accent stripe in a separate color is an upcharge, even if it's one of the standard colors that you can get. However, if you do extended palette on the stripe, which is available, like let's say you wanted to do something just absolutely insane, like what would look cool with this? Like maybe like some type of purple or pink, that looks pretty cool. Let's say it's that right there. They will also use the same process to figure out what paint this is. Let's say this is a Lamborghini color. You give them the year, make, and model, and then they'll tell you what level of category it is. And from what I was told, the price of the stripe and the price of the body for extended palette is about the same. So like if, let's say this paint code here comes out to level 3, but this comes out to level 5, you're gonna end up paying more for the stripe than you will for the body color, just depending on what they decide. Wheel options, 20-inch aluminums. Magnesium was something that they talked about, not available on here from what I see at this moment. And there's only one color. Probably put some black brake calipers on there. And it is an upcharge because with the performance package, Grabber Blue is standard. So black brake calipers looks better. That's a sick looking car. Titanium wheel lugs are standard with the performance package. Additional options, not very many. Again, like I told you, tow hook's 50 bucks. Chunk that baby on there. Exposed carbon fiber mirror caps. You have to have those. I mean, with all this carbon up here, like it would be wrong not to have it. Not too bad of a price based on other companies that I've gotten those from. And then back here, you have the Mustang script similar to Spirit of America's, and then you also have it available in dark gray. This looks really sick because it looks ghosted. If I can get this to work right. It looks ghosted in there. But again, this is one of those things where it's like, how dark is it? You know? I would have loved, God, I would have loved if they would have done body colored options for this. Like imagine this in that yellow or in that purple. That would have been absolutely stunning. You have the ombre. It looks fairly gray, okay? You have black onyx, which looks like a weird light Alcantara gray with some white perforation behind it. What this is, perforated material. The dots get smaller towards the outside, and then it's lined with a thinner white material behind it, which gives it that gradient look. This looks really gray, and so I didn't feel comfortable with just seeing these two options. I leaned heavily towards ombre just based on this initial rendering. But whenever you see photos of these specific seats, they look different in the actual photos. The only way I was able to see actual photos of these is she had to go to like their build guide, their internal build guide, and kind of flip through like some of the training material to find something close to a full seat. The ombre looks way wider in the center sections where like it fades all the way into like the color. It looks way whiter. What the heck? It looks way lighter than what you see in the rendering, because in the rendering it looks fairly gray, And I love that style because it has like, you know, old school like IROC and Fox body, like that era. It has that old school vibe to it. The black Onyx actually looks more like black instead of a lighter gray like you see in the rendering. Configurator can only get you so far because it's not a physical item. And I really wish they would have had like physical shots of these things, because I know it, you know it. They probably already have gone through, you know, first article, third article, who knows how far along they've been in their prototyping to see these seats. They didn't just render it and say, well, that's what we're gonna run. Like, I know that Ford probably has already gone through multiple iterations of these designs and they have physical samples. So yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. Those are really different than the actual photos, and so it's a bit of a guess as far as to what you're actually gonna select. I have a clip of the actual seat from when she shows me that I'm gonna add in, so hopefully you can see kind of a difference of how it looks. And then if you go to your summary, it asks you to save one. So let's go ahead and save there. Now, once I save it, it gives you a breakdown. It gives you some screenshots. I wish you could save these, but you can't. They don't give you an option to save like the photos to think about it. So what I recommend is you can hide this and you can do like a screenshot, screen grab, and just kind of have all the angles to determine, because you're gonna have to have your decisions ready. You can change the scene lighting, which is cool. More of a nighttime vibe here. Obviously the colors look a little bit off now because they brighten the car since the background is so different. And there's also a video tab that I have not been able to get to work. It's just kind of this, you know, random environment, like developer's environment, like looks like something from Tron. But I wanna say that this is supposed to be some type of video maybe where it's driving. I don't know if certain options are gonna become more available as the production continues. Since we're maybe like in the first half of the ones being spec'd, maybe things weren't all ready like they should have been. Like the magnesium wheel's not available, and I know like the launch color is not in there, and also the wheel color, that champagne gold, was not on here at all, which I'm disappointed in because I really like that color. If you pay attention to when they launched the Chroma Flare, it had a silver wheel. Silver wheel's not available. And if you look at the stripe is different. So the center stripe on the Carbon series now stops before the hood ends and it's really thin. However, on the Chroma Flare, the Chroma Red or whatever it's called, when they unveiled that car, the stripe continued all the way down to the front of the hood. And so it ended up making it look like there were two big carbon stripes over the hood and then the roof and the deck lid. The stripe is different on that. They finally refined the stripe to the holographic pink blue that they did, that pink color, which again is not an option either. I don't know if they just did that so they can show you like, look what you can do with extended palette. You can choose anything, you can paint anything, look at what it'll look like. But some of those options aren't on here, which are a bit disappointing. And for the price range that I was told this car is gonna cost, man, you would have hoped that there would have been like at least more customization in the interior. I love the extended palette color for the stripes, all that. I wish they would have done body colored or accented color on the Mustang script on the rear wing. But man, I wish there was some type of customization on the interior. You're talking about GT3 RS money. It's a bit unfortunate that they don't have like stitching options or like seat options and colors and carbon fiber seat backs. Like, man, for the Carbon series, that would have been amazing because everything on the exterior is pretty much carbon fiber. And I just feel like the interior looks not much different than like a Dark Horse, other than the titanium, which is it's a bit of a gimmick. I love F-22 Raptor. It's a sick fighter jet, and it's a cool thing to say, oh, it's from an F-22 fighter jet. Like, everyone that has it's gonna love it. And if you don't have that option, you're gonna be like, I really wish I would expect that. Considering how much it costs, in consideration of how expensive the entire car is. Like, it's easy to justify these things whenever the car is $500,000. because it's well in that range with some of these options that you can select. I definitely will keep you guys updated as I hear more back from them. The last email that I sent, I requested to see if I could maybe have a breakdown of like what other colors people were selecting, just out of curiosity, because I'm a curious person and I want to set it apart from like the general of what everyone's doing, because the color that I have selected is a really unique color. In the shade that it's in, it's unique, but it's a very common color, if that makes sense. It's really hard to explain without actually telling you. I'll let you know more of the details as we get closer to finalizing. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this long-winded return to YouTube. I've been recording for 42 minutes. It's exciting times for sure. I have a lot to update you on. If you're new to the channel, please hit me with a like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated as I post more GTD content as well as other car content for projects that I have working on. I have a lot to do to the 911 to get it to where I want it to be. The M5 still has some work to be done, and I need to update you on the Raptor because there are changes coming to that, as well as the GT500, because I was involved in a fender bender a few weeks ago, which took out the hood, the fender, the headlight, the bumper, the door. So, like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram at @RideWithRenzo, and I'll see y'all on the next one.